Hey guys, welcome to Follow the Breadcrumb Trail of Your Joy. This is a very fundamental lesson. It's very crucial. It's very much the essence of empowerment. It is the idea that joy equals that which guides you into more of yourself, into becoming a more empowered version, a more crystallized, a more established, a more embodied version of why you're actually here, what you actually came here to be, in that sense, what you actually desire to be. So following your joy, why is that a good thing to do? You've heard the statement many times, I'm sure. Follow your heart, follow your bliss, follow your excitement, follow your joy. But why is that a good thing to do? Why is that a wise, smart, empowering, aligned thing to do? It is precisely because, as we've explained in the previous lessons, as we've explored, the idea that the emotional body functions as a guide. So joy, bliss, ecstasy, excitement, inspiration, all these qualities that we feel good about, they feel good precisely because they're guiding us into more of the truth of who we are. So this is why it's actually of a matter of life and death, almost, I would say. It's so crucial to being a being, to being an individual expression of the infinite, that we actually listen to that heart impulse, that heart's impulse, that inspiration, that joy. So when we follow our joy, what we're doing literally is we're taking advice from our higher selves. We're taking that guidance, we're listening, we're paying attention, we're not being egotistical, we're not being arrogant, we're not being stubborn, we're not feeling betrayed, we're not thinking that we know what is right, what's best, what's not best, from our limited physical mind points of view. Instead, we open up, we relax, we take those 2 to 5 seconds of relaxation. We check in with ourselves. What truly excites us? What would be the most exciting thing to do today? To do right now? What excites me the most right now out of all the things that I can think of? And by acting on your joy in that way, by following your joy in that way, you're literally taking your higher self's advice and guidance. You're literally appreciating that you're part of a bigger plan, part of a bigger, exciting, overarching vision for creation. And then you start to become a conduit, a vessel, an expression of that. More clearly so than you are at present, because you've muddied it up with a lot of lack beliefs, a lot of lack ideas, and henceforth there is the idea of arrogance and stubbornness and you knowing what you think you know. But when you truly open up with true humility and you truly follow your joy with integrity and inspiration, you cannot go wrong. You're only going to accelerate and become more of who you actually are and who you actually desire to be. And your life on all levels of its being will become that much happier, that much more ecstatic. So you can see that acting on your joy is actually a super wise choice to make. It's the wisest choice at your disposal at any given moment, because it's literally the guidance that is given to you. It's literally the connection, the alignment that is inspired to you. So when you don't act on what seems to be a representation of your true heart's passion and joy, not just your needs, not like security, I need this because then I can feel safe. That's not the type of passion or desire I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about the type of passion or desire that is truly passionate, truly inspired, that is just purely excited about being alive, and that wants to express itself in certain ways. Now, the things in your life that seem to attract that type of state of being are those symbols that you gravitate towards, that you think you want and desire. And so when that desire comes up, it is a super wise choice to make, to act on that to the best of your ability, precisely because it comes from a wiser portion of your consciousness that has way more overview of your life. It's like being on the mountaintop instead of in the valley. You can actually see what's going on. You can see all the paths. And so the way that you, with this limited mind-based experience, can tap into it, the closest you can get to higher wisdom is actually to listen to your emotional body's signal when it gives off a sense of excitement, joy, elevation, expansion, connection. And to then act on that, to make the most out of that, to squeeze the most out of that, to not out of a needy place, but just because you enjoy being in that space and extracting everything you can out of that experience and acting on it to the fullest of your ability with the least amount of fear that you can bring with you. So it's also a wise choice because it will actually support you. I know this is so hard to believe, and this is why many people don't start actually following their bliss. This is why they don't empower themselves. Even if they know the mechanics, if you don't trust the process, if you don't trust your joy, if you don't trust where it comes from and where it will lead you, then you're still going to perceive more benefit in the negative approaches, in the controlling approaches. And so you will always go in those negative controlling ways. You will always move in those ways. Whereas if you truly open up, become truly humble, become truly wise, and realize that true connection is found, is discovered, is guided to you through joy, through inspiration, through excitement, you start acting on that. And then all of the energy of creation starts to support that journey instead of seemingly contradict you all the time. If contradiction, if opposition, if struggle is all that you're getting, it's simply an immediate reflection of you. It's a reflection of how you are acting, what you are believing is true. And so if you're out of alignment with the truth of your being, if you're not being wise, if you're not being smart about this physical life, if you're not connecting to who you truly are, to your excitement, your passion, then obviously you're going to meet life with a lot of resistance, and resistance is going to meet you because that's what you're putting out, that's what you're exuding, that's what you're attracting, that's what you're showing life. And life can only reflect you. So it's a super wise choice to act on your joy because it will completely support you, it will completely accelerate you, and it will show you and confirm you and prove to you that this is actually how it works. So then people ask how to follow my joy. One of the best analogies I can come up with is the idea of a breadcrumb trail. Why? Because it's not a line. People find it hard to follow their joy consistently. Sure, they can do it for a moment, but to consistently act on their joy, to consistently choose their bliss, and to express that, and to act that out, and to choose the things in life that represent that state of bliss, seems like a hard thing to do consistently because people fall into these little traps, these little mind traps of lack. One major one being that it doesn't seem to go anywhere linearly. So when I start acting on my joy, what I notice is the more I act on my joy, the more almost erratic my life becomes, the more chaotic in a sense. Not really, but to the linear-based conditioned physical mind, it seems like it's going off in all kinds of directions. It's going left, then it's going right, then it's going up, then it's going backwards even, then it's going down. So there doesn't seem to be a straight line like we learn in school, like our parents teach us to do. Get a job, work for 50 years, then retire, then be happy, then do what you want to do once you're crippled and once you're all like old and crumbly and you can't do the things you want to do anymore. Then do that, then start having fun, then start being yourself. So that safe approach obviously looks like a straight line, and then our mind can latch onto that and project its happiness at the end of that line, at the end of that trail. However, when we start acting on our joy, something magical happens. We break free from linear reality. We break free from the linear paradigm of space-time, quite literally. So what happens is because we amp up our frequency, we start living as higher self lives, in a sense, which is very simultaneous, which is very much all over the place at the same time, because time has a very different reality to it on those higher vibrational, higher dimensional planes of consciousness. So what we experience in our physical reality, when we start to line up with those higher inspirational energies, that guidance mechanism that bridges us, the emotional body, bridging our physical being with our spirit being, with our truth, with our clarity, with our true vision for our life, with the true empowerment for our being, for our physical existence, then our physical existence starts to also resemble that more non-linear way of being. So you might be really excited about starting a new company, let's say. And so you start this really exciting new company. And for example, a friend of mine just started a tennis company, his own tennis company, like his tennis coaching company. And he got really excited about that. He was on fire, he was alive, it was super passionate. And so obviously the mind would then go and project that into the future. Oh, this is going to be so amazing, and I'm going to continue to feel like this forever, and it's just going to expand, and it's going to take off, and it's so exciting. That's amazing. Be in that state by all means, but don't project all those expectations into the future as a normal conditioned physical mind-based being would. Why? Because this is when you get into trouble. As soon as higher self says basically, oh hey, wait a second, this joy is not to be found here anymore for this period of time. It's not actually the most direct path into more of yourself for you to continue this business at this time. The joy will start to seep out of it. It will no longer turn you on as much. You will no longer be as excited. And so then the mind comes in, the conditioned mind comes in, that which is based on linear, physical, sensical reality, going from point A to B to C to D to E, etc. And it starts to object. It starts to resist. It starts to say, hey, wait, this is not going anywhere. Well, I guess it didn't work out, or I guess life betrayed me once again, or I guess it was foolish of me to follow my dreams. However, if you pay attention instead, you will notice that as you're starting that company and you're really excited about it, you can start to feel at some point it starts to exhaust itself. Like you've extracted everything there needs to be extracted for you personally out of that symbol of creating a company. And at least for this time, at least for the time being, doesn't mean you'll never pick it up again. It simply means the excitement starts to disappear from it. And then suddenly, if you pay attention and you don't go into, oh, well, let me just go back to my day-to-day job then, or to my old reality. And instead, you pay attention and you notice that, hey, wait a second, it really excites me right now to get into rock climbing. Seemingly, rock climbing has nothing to do with playing tennis, with coaching tennis. It's a sport, but that's about it. But you start following that joy because you paid attention, because you're humbled enough to recognize guidance. You're not insisting that you know what is best for you from a very limited, depressed, betrayed sense of self. You open up, you expand, you trust the process of your joy, of your excitement, and you start following it like a breadcrumb trail. Again, a breadcrumb trail does not have a straight line. There can be breadcrumb over here, and then one can be over there, and the next one can be over there, and the next one can be in the tree, and the next one can be a mile away. So this keeps you on the edge of your seat in a really good, exciting way, in a way that is very akin, very like how your higher self sees things, sees life, sees events, sees time, sees space, sees how creation works. So if you simply start acting on the things that excite you the most, one moment at a time, one moment at a time, one moment at a time, without projecting that it has to go in a certain line and have a certain end goal, but you trust that even if it jumps around from left to right to backwards, and from a linear point of view, those dots seem to be all over the place. If you trust that by the very fact that this moment excites you the most, and then this option excites you the most, and then this action excites you the most, and then this product excites you the most, and then this time to go to bed excites you the most, and then this book to read excites you the most. If you don't try to make sense out of that from a linear point of view, and you trust in that guidance, you trust in your excitement, you trust in your bliss, you will be on the most direct, effortless, most blissful, most joyful path to establishing and manifesting and creating the most of your true frequency self in physical reality. So to empower yourself, you need to also trust yourself. You need to trust your higher self. You need to trust that guidance. You need to give up your insistence. You need to give up your control. You need to really trust in what excites you the most, which is a great gift. It's not a negative thing. Oh, darn it, I'm gonna lose my depressive state of control over being really excited moment by moment, being supported with everything that I need moment by moment. That's not a negative thing. It's not a punishment. It's not a scary thing. It's a really, really rewarding process, but you gotta trust the process. And you have to follow it like a breadcrumb trail with no expectations of where the next breadcrumb may be. If you can do this, I assure you, your life will drastically change and empower itself completely without you having to control a single thing. Simply act on what excites you the most, believe in what excites you the most, and work with that and extract all you can out of those breadcrumbs. Eat those breadcrumbs, enjoy every breadcrumb of it. Don't project where it's leading you. Simply follow it step by step, one moment at a time, one moment at a time, one moment at a time. And you'll be accelerating so fast before you know it that things start changing and transforming. And you can start to see this as evidence in your physical circumstantial life.